Hey guys, time for another Year of Miyazaki discussion video, and today I'm going to be talking about Castle in the Sky. Now this is technically the first official Studio Ghibli film, and it came out in 1986 and was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki. The world of Castle in the Sky is really not so different from a historical version of our world, maybe around the time when automobiles and airplanes are becoming more advanced. In Castle in the Sky, we follow this young man named Patsu who works as a mechanic's assistant in a small mining town. One evening while Patsu is working, he looks up and sees a very strange sight. A girl, or a young woman, floating down from the sky with a glowing necklace. Of course, Patsu is really intrigued and concerned that the girl might hurt herself if she falls to earth, so he catches her, brings her back to his home, and basically watches over her until she wakes up the next day. Now when she does wake up, she introduces herself to Patsu as Shida, a girl from another region of the world who has actually been kidnapped from her home. Not long after she reveals this to Patsu, they are confronted by a gang of airship pirates as well as a military brigade who are all searching for Shida, mainly because they want her magical necklace. So Patsu helps her escape with the help of some of the townspeople, and they go basically on this quest to better understand the mystery behind Shida's necklace. As it turns out, it was a gift from Shida's grandmother, who is actually descendant from the people of Laputa, which was a floating kingdom that floated in the sky and was once a major world power but has since passed into legend. Now, Patsu knows quite a bit about Laputa, mainly because his father was an airship explorer when he was alive, and he actually managed to see Laputa and take a partial picture of it and had been obsessed with finding it and proving its existence. So Patsu and Shida decide that maybe they should go looking for Laputa before the military finds it and tries to get their hands on them again, but before they can do anything, they have another confrontation and end up losing the necklace. Concerned with what the evil and clever government agent Muska could do with the power of the necklace, Patsu and Shida join forces with the pirates and decide to track the government ship and hopefully find Laputa before the military does. And that's the plot summary I'm going to be giving, just so that I don't spoil anything major, but for some general thoughts, I will say I really enjoyed this, and I was kind of surprised because although it had been several years since I had rewatched this, I distinctly remember not really enjoying it. So this time around, there was a lot that I didn't remember and a lot that I really enjoyed. One of the things I really liked was kind of the way the technology was presented in this film. Obviously they're advanced enough that they have these massive airships that can fly, but I specifically liked the pirate Captain Dola's ship, where it was all kind of like pieced together, and you could really tell that her husband, the ship's mechanic, had to really try to keep it up and running, and I loved the whole kind of ragtag technology aspect. Speaking of Dola, she was a character I really enjoyed this time around. Interestingly enough, I remember distinctly not liking her when I had watched this film previously, but for whatever reason this time around I really enjoyed her character. I thought she was really funny, I thought she was badass, she was a kick-ass female character, and I really liked her relationship with both Patsu and Shida, and how she could be really kind of a hard ass at times, but then she had a real soft spot for these young people. Another thing I was really impressed by in this film was the animation itself. Now, if you think about it, this came out just 2 years after Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which I talked about last time, but in those 2 years, watching them back to back, you can really see the difference and the advancements in their animation, both technique-wise and in technology. In Nausicaa, there were also a lot of flight scenes, but for whatever reason, and I don't think I could point out maybe a specific stylistic difference, but for whatever reason, in Castle in the Sky, the flying scenes are so spectacular, and they're so much better than Nausicaa that it's amazing that there's only a 2-year difference in between these films. I specifically liked the scene where they are flying into the storm where they ultimately find Laputa. I thought the way that they drew the wind coming across, how they showed two winds converging on Patsu's face, face. I thought that was really impressive and just really stunning. Of course, I have a few themes I want to discuss with you guys, which will probably contain spoilers, just a heads up. And this first one I just want to touch on really quickly because it will come up in every single one of Miyazaki's films, I'm pretty sure, and that is the idea of technology. At some point in the film, Shida says to Muska that no matter how much technology he has and that no matter how advanced his technology is, the world cannot exist without love. So, like Miyazaki talks about in so many other of his films, the idea of living a technology-filled life versus living a fulfilling, loving, natural life. However, Castle in the Sky is a little interesting in that respect, in that the robots, which are obviously a very advanced form of technology, are ultimately guardians of the natural world, the garden on Laputa. So make of that what you will, but like I said, I'm not going to go into that one too much today. What I actually am more interested in talking about is kind of the second theme that I picked up on, and that is the idea that the past is useless if we don't learn from it. What I mean by that is that Muska knows a lot about Laputa factually. He knows history, he knows customs, he knows about what their technology was like, but because he's not willing to look at any of that critically, he can't benefit from the same lessons and the same knowledge that the people of Laputa actually accumulated. Although Laputa was once such a powerful nation that they probably could have controlled the entire world, the people of Laputa made the decision to leave all of that advanced technology behind and move to Earth and live a more simple, peaceful life. So that in itself is the lesson learned, that maybe it's not the best thing to rule over other people by force, but to live in harmony. Muska, on the other hand, only sees the technology for what it is, advanced weaponry, and he immediately thinks, because they have that, it should be used for warfare and domination, and he's missing the entire point. I think this is so totally applicable to our world today, mainly because we teach history in all schools, and I think that we teach history, or I hope that we teach history, so that the leaders of tomorrow can learn from the mistakes of the past and can learn not to repeat those mistakes. However, I guess the question I want to posit to you guys is, do you think we're actually learning from our mistakes, or are we just teaching people the facts about history and not having those critical discussions that come back around to what we are doing in today's society, in today's social and political climate? And the third theme that I wanted to just touch on really quickly is the idea of greed. Now, greed is something that comes up in a lot of Miyazaki's films, and I think that's mainly because it's a very human and very powerful human motivator. In Castle in the Sky specifically, I think Miyazaki really touches on the fact that there are multiple kinds of greed and that they can really push you to different extremes. Dola and her pirate family exhibit more of a basic traditional greed. They are looking for gold and jewels and treasure and, to use a very piratey word, booty. Muska, on the other hand, feels a more dangerous kind of greed. He feels the greed for power and status, and he really seeks that through information. I think we could all agree that no matter where you would plop us down in history, technology and information or education are extremely important factors that really are kind of prerequisites to gaining status or power. And unfortunately, I think Muska is a really good example of how information and technology and that kind of status and power can lead to evil and not always good. So those were all of the thoughts I wanted to share on Castle in the Sky. And if you guys have watched this film already and you would like to comment on something I said or on something totally different, please leave it in the comments down below. And if you haven't watched this film yet, I hope you are now inspired to go do so. The next film in the Studio Ghibli chronology is The Grave of the Fireflies by Isao Takahata. So I will be watching that in the next couple of weeks and posting a discussion video either at the end of February or beginning of March, sometime around then. But just in case you guys wanted to keep up with the project, that is what I'm watching next, so go find it for yourself and watch it. I'm kind of excited, it's my first Takahata ever. And on that note, I'm going to cut myself off because these videos are getting increasingly long, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye!